And now, Professor Minnick.
Okay, I'm a high school teacher, actually. Here's an answer to one of my annoying worksheets. Paul, have fun fast forwarding because I'm going to disable that button. Here it goes. The question at hand is to remove zeros from an array list that was passed as a parameter. So I think we need a loop. We need to declare a variable I, set it equal to 0, send I to the length of the list, but I remember that the array list class has a size method, not a length property. So I got to do list.size and then I++. And I need to remove the zeros. Well, the list, there's a method. Is there a method that finds zeros? No, I have to manually get each element out of the list and check to see if it's a 0. And I can use the double equals for that because this is an array list of integers, which because of auto unboxing in Java, an integer object can be considered an int. And so this works. It wouldn't have worked a few years ago before the latest version of Java. And what am I supposed to do if I found what I'm looking for? Oh, I'm supposed to remove it. So if that equals that, list.remove I. Remove that which is found at position I of the array list. Am I supposed to return something here? Do I need a return statement? Nope, because this is a void method. After the execution of this method, the list is permanently changed and altered without any zeros. This is a rare but a somewhat possible AP exam question where they ask you to alter the array list that's been passed, as Java does. It passes by value, by reference, and that's how that would work. Oh, but there's an error here. Follow with me. Because of this 0, 0, the consecutive zeros there, at some point, I ++es and becomes 4. At the moment that I becomes 4, it finds that 0 and removes it. But then I ++es to 5. Well, this 0 sucks back to position 4 at that moment, and it's no longer in position 5. So we end up skipping over position 5. And actually, because the size of the list dynamically changes each time we do a dot remove, this is a totally wrong answer. To save it, we could do this. A little cheesy, but we could do it. When we remove something, when we find a 0, we actually backtrack I and do an I minus. It's not good style to alter your loop variable like this, but if you have to do it to get the job done, then I guess you have to do it. We don't really need curly braces with the for loop here because we only have one body statement of the for loop. This, I think, works. It might still have an off by 1 problem at the end. You can trace it to make sure that there isn't another little glitch to this, but I think it works. I'm only a high school teacher, not a professor, so it should be good. A better solution, perhaps, well, no, that's, yeah, a better solution would have been to use a while loop. How about this alternate answer? While I less than list.size we don't need the I minus there, but we do need to I++ in this case within our while loop. I think this would work as an alternate answer. Nope. I just did it, calculated in my head. I think this needs to be in an else. Check that out on your own time to see if that's an answer. Maybe I'll throw some extra credit to you if you find a flaw in either of these answers. Okay, let's take a look at number 2 here on this worksheet. We need to count the letters. This one is actually quite simple. It looks scary, but it's pretty easy. We have a list, and it's a list of strings, and we need to add up a running total. So I need a variable that stores the total number of characters, and I'll just call it total. And set it equal to 0 because you just have to initialize local variables to 0 because Java does not do that by default. And the next step here is to loop through my array list. So I need a for loop. And I need to take I less than list.size and I plus plus it. So far so good. And what do I need to do? Oh, this is so easy. Total plus equals list.get I dot length empty parentheses. I'm done. I'm almost embarrassed it's so easy. Return total. And this could be an AP exam question worth 5 or 6 points. Now, pity the poor fool, as Mr. T said in the 1980s. You guys don't even know anything about the 1980s, but Mr. T, he said, pity the poor fool who, on the AP exam, writes extra code. Because this line of code, this whole for loop, let's copy and paste that for loop. This for loop could have been expanded, unfortunately, and maybe you had this variable called num characters of current string. And you did a plus equals of list.get I dot, I don't know, substring I comma I plus 1, where you counted each letter individually of each string. And to do that, you needed an inner for loop that set the variable j, will say, from 0 to j less than list.get I dot length empty parentheses j plus plus. Holy cow! And you wouldn't have needed any of this. Then you would have right here. You would have did total plus equals num characters of current string. Man, this would have been a lot of extra work. Essentially, using a double nested for loop where you could have got away with one for loop. Of course, you would have had to initialize num characters of the current string as a local variable and set it equal to 0. Folks, if you know that there's a length method in the string class that you used as your upper boundary here to stop yourself when you got to the end of each string, why didn't you just use it and add it into your running total? Why would you carefully substring something one at a time just as a reasoning for pulling out each letter? That you didn't really want to do anything with the letter, you just wanted to add one. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This would have been a plus plus. I'm sorry. You didn't need to do that substring. I'm so sorry. This would have just been plus plus. Yeah. And then, of course, you would have still returned the total. But you just manufactured an unnecessary need for that for loop. Don't do this. This is a nice, clean answer.